Thank you very much, everyone. Appreciate it. And good afternoon. I'd like to provide an update to the American people regarding the crisis on our southern border, and crisis it is. Illegal immigration affects the lives of all Americans. Illegal immigration hurts American workers, burdens American taxpayers, and undermines public safety and places enormous strain on our local schools, hospitals, and communities in general, taking precious resources away from the poorest Americans who need them most. Illegal immigration costs our country billions and billions of dollars each year. America is a welcoming country, and under my leadership, it's a welcoming country. We lead the world in humanitarian protection and assistance by far. It's nobody even close. We have the largest and most expansive immigration programs anywhere on the planet. We've issued 40 million green cards since 1970, which means the permanent residency and a path to citizenship for many, many people. But we will not allow our generosity to be abused by those who would break our laws, defy our rules, violate our borders, break into our country illegally. We won't allow it. Mass, uncontrolled immigration is especially unfair to the many wonderful, law-abiding immigrants already living here who followed the rules and waited their turn. Some have been waiting for many years. Some have been waiting for a long time. They've done everything perfectly. And they're going to come in. At some point, they're going to come in. Many cases, very soon. We need them to come in because we have companies coming into our country. They need workers. But they have to come in on a merit basis, and they will come in on a merit basis. The communities are often left to bear the cost and the influx of people that come in illegally. We can't allow that. There's a limit to how many people a nation can responsibly absorb into their societies. Every day, above and beyond our existing lawful admission programs, roughly 1,500 to 2,000 people try crossing our borders illegally. We do a very good job considering the laws are so bad. They're not archaic, they're incompetent. It's not that they're old, they're just bad. And we can't get any Democrat votes to change them. It's only the Republicans that are in unison. They want to change them. They want to make strong borders, want to get rid of any crime because of the borders, of which there's a lot. And we've done a great job with the laws that we have. We're moving in tremendous numbers of people to get out the MS-13 gangs and other gangs that illegally come into our country. And we're getting them out by the thousands. But this is a perilous situation, and it threatens to become even more hazardous as our economy gets better and better. A lot of the cause of this problem is the fact that we right now have the hottest economy anywhere in the world. It's doing better than any economy in the world. Jobs, unemployment, you look at any number. Right now we have more workers than any time in the history of our country. We have more people working, which is a tremendous statement. More people working than at any time in the history of our country. And people want to come in, and in some cases they want to take advantage of that. And that's okay, and we want them to come in, but they have to come in through merit. They have to come in legally. At this very moment, large, well-organized caravans of migrants are marching toward our southern border. Some people call it an invasion. It's like an invasion. They have violently overrun the Mexican border. You saw that 2 days ago. These are tough people in many cases. A lot of young men, strong men, and a lot of men that maybe we don't want in our country. But again, we'll find that out through the legal process. But they've overrun the Mexican police, and they've overrun and hurt badly Mexican soldiers. So this isn't an innocent group of people. There's a large number of people that are tough. They've injured, they've attacked, and the Mexican police and military has actually suffered. And I appreciate what Mexico is trying to do. So let me begin by stating that these illegal caravans will not be allowed into the United States, and they should turn back now because they're wasting their time. They should apply to come into our country. We want them to come into our country very much. We need people to help us with all of these companies that are coming in. We've never had anything like this. We have car companies coming in. We have Foxconn, so involved with the manufacturing of Apple products, coming in Wisconsin. We have a lot of companies coming in, but they have to apply, and they have to be wonderful people that are going to love our country and work hard. And we've already dispatched for the border the United States military, and they will do the job. They're setting up right now, and they're preparing. We hope nothing happens, but if it does, we are totally prepared. Greatest military anywhere in the world, and it's going to be and is now in great shape, no longer depleted like it was when I took over as the President of the United States. The government of Mexico has generously offered asylum, jobs, education, and medical care for people within the caravan, but many members of the caravan have refused these offers, which demonstrate that these migrants are not legitimate asylum seekers. They're not looking for protection, because if they were, they'd be able to get it from Mexico. Mexico has agreed to take them in and encourage them to stay. But they don't want to stay. They want to come into the United States. So this is no longer safety, and asylum is about safety. Asylum is not a program for those living in poverty. There are billions of people in the world living at the poverty level. The United States cannot possibly absorb them all. Asylum is a very special protection intended only for those fleeing government persecution based on race, religion, and other protected status. These caravans and illegal migrants are drawn to our country by Democrat-backed laws and left-wing judicial rulings. We're getting rulings that are so ridiculous, so bad, they're writing the laws. Can't do that. Collectively known as an example, catch and release. It's a disgrace that we have to put up with it. These policies lead to the release of illegal aliens into our communities after they've been apprehended. But we're not releasing anymore. Big change as of a couple of days ago. We're going to no longer release. We're going to catch. We're not going to release. They're going to stay with us until the deportation hearing or the asylum hearing takes place. So we're not releasing them into the community. We have millions of people that over the years have been released into the community. They never show up for the trials. They never come back. They're never seen again. And those people, they know who they are. And we know a lot of where they are, who they are, and those people will be deported, directly deported. The biggest loophole drawing illegal aliens to our borders is the use of fraudulent or meritless asylum claims to gain entry into our great country. An alien simply crosses the border illegally, finds a Border Patrol agent, and using well-coached language by lawyers and others that stand there and trying to get fees or whatever they can get, they're given a phrase to read. They never heard of the phrase before. They don't believe in the phrase. But they're given a little legal statement to read. And they read it. And now all of a sudden they're supposed to qualify. But that's not the reason they're here. This merely asserts the need for asylum, and then often released into the United States, and they await a lengthy court process. The court process will take years sometimes for them to attend. Well, we're not releasing them into our country any longer. They'll wait for long periods of time. We're putting up massive cities of tents. The military is helping us incredibly well. I want to thank the Army Corps of Engineers. They've been so efficient, so good, so talented. We have thousands of tents. We have a lot of tents. We have a lot of everything. We're going to hold them right there. We're not letting them into our country, and then they never show up. Almost. It's like a level of 3%. they never show up for the trial. So by the time their trial comes, they're gone. Nobody knows where they are. But we know where a lot of them are, and they're going to be deported. There are now nearly 700,000 aliens inside the United States awaiting adjudication of their claims. Most of these people, we have no idea how they got there, why they got there, and the number is actually going to be a much larger number as we look at all of the data. So if you look at just at a minimal number, it's the size of Vermont or bigger. And the overall number could be 10 million people, could be 12 million people, could be 20 million people. The record keeping from past administrations has not exactly been very good. As human smugglers and traffickers have learned how the game is played and how to game the system, we have witnessed a staggering 1,700 increase in asylum claims since the year 2010. They understand the law better than the lawyers understand the law. You have a lot of professionalism there. You have a lot of professionalism involved with setting up the caravans. You take a look at the way that's happening. Even the countries, you look at Honduras and El Salvador, and you look at what's happening at the different levels in different countries or what's happening on the streets. There's a lot of professionalism taking place, and there seems to be a lot of money passing. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, these big caravans are formed and they start marching up. They've got a long way to go. On average, once released, an asylum case takes 3.5 years to complete. Think of it. Somebody walks into our country, reads a statement given by a lawyer, and we have a 3.5-year court case for one person. Whereas other people tell them, out, get out, just get out. Other countries, get out. We have a border, get out. We go through years and years of litigation because of the Democrats and the incompetent, very, very stupid laws that we have. They're the laughing stock all over the world, including the people that are marching up. They understand. But the difference is we're not allowing them in, and we're not releasing, and we're not doing any of the things that were done for so many years that really are terrible for our country. The overwhelming majority of claims are rejected by the courts, but by that time, the alien has usually long since disappeared into our country. So they never get to see the judge, they never get to have a ruling. They don't care because they're in the country and nobody knows where they are. All told, there are approximately 1 million aliens who have received final orders of removal. They've actually got final orders of removal. You don't have to go to a court anymore. The courts have already issued the orders of removal, and we've gotten a lot of them, but who remain at large in our country. So we're moving them out. This endemic abuse of the asylum system makes a mockery of our immigration system, displacing legitimate asylum seekers, and there are legitimate asylum seekers, while rewarding those who abuse or defraud our system, which is almost everybody. Everybody is abusing it and just doing things to our system which were unthinkable, I'm sure, even by the Democrats who were largely responsible for getting it done. These individuals disrespect the foundations of American government by voluntarily choosing to break the law as their first act on American soil. Furthermore, contained within this giant flow of illegal migration to our southwest border is the movement of illicit and deadly narcotics. It's in the southwest. Most of it comes in. Nearly 100% of heroin in the United States enters through the southern border. Think of that, 100% almost of heroin comes in through the southern border, along with roughly 90% of cocaine and the majority of meth and a substantial portion of the ultra-lethal fentanyl killing our youth. The fentanyl is killing our youth. These drugs destroy the lives and kill much more than 70,000 Americans every single year. And the number goes up and up and up because we are so foolish with our laws that we allow this to happen. A death toll equivalent of the size of an entire American city every year. The current influx, if not halted, threatens to overwhelm our immigration system and our communities and poses unacceptable dangers to the entire nation. Have to have our borders. Can't let drugs come in. It's not just people. It's people, it's drugs, it's human traffickers. Human trafficking is now at the highest level in the world that it's ever been. That's because of the internet. Think of it, human trafficking. You think back 200 years, 500 years, human trafficking, where they steal children, in many cases women, unfortunately. They steal women. They're human traffickers, the lowest scum on earth. The lowest scum on earth. And it's at a level that it's never been worldwide, never been at a level like this. If these caravans are allowed into our country, only bigger and more emboldened caravans will follow. And you see that's what's happening now. We have one that's coming up, and it's being somewhat dissipated as they march, but then other people are joining it. And then it gets bigger. And now, if you look back at Honduras and if you look at El Salvador, other ones are solving, and they're forming. They're forming. You have new ones that are forming. And we call it caravan number 2. Is unbelievably rough, people. Very, very hard for the military to stop it. Our military will have no problem. But very, very hard. Mexico's having a very, very hard time with it. Once they arrive, the Democrat Party's vision is to offer them free health care, free welfare, free education, and even the right to vote. You and the hardworking taxpayers of our country will be asked to pick up the entire tab. That's what's happening. Medical, and in many cases, they've got some big medical problems before they get here. No nation can allow itself to be overwhelmed by uncontrolled masses of people rushing their border. That's what's happening. They are rushing our border. They're coming up. And even before you get to the caravan, just on a daily basis, people coming in. And it's a very bad thing for our country. It's sad in many ways, but it's a very bad thing for a country. And again, costs us billions and billions and billions of dollars a year. And I will therefore take every lawful action at my disposal to address this crisis. And that's what we're doing. The United States military, great people. My administration is finalizing a plan to end the rampant abuse of our asylum system. It's abused, to halt a dangerous influx and to establish control over America's sovereign borders. We've got borders. And once that control is set and standardized and made very strong, including the building of the wall, which we've already started. $1.6 billion spent last year, $1.6 billion this year. We have another 1.6 that will be coming, but we want to build it at one time. All it does is turn people in a different direction if you don't. We want to build it at one time. Under this plan, the illegal aliens will no longer get a free pass into our country by lodging meritless claims in seeking asylum. Instead, migrants seeking asylum will have to present themselves lawfully at a port of entry. So they're going to have to lawfully present themselves at a port of entry. Those who choose to break our laws and enter illegally will no longer be able to use meritless claims to gain automatic admission into our country. We will hold them for a long time if necessary. The only long-term solution to the crisis and the only way to ensure the endurance of our nation as a sovereign country is for Congress to overcome open borders obstruction. That's exactly what it is. It's open borders obstruction. No votes. You can come up with the greatest border plan, the greatest immigration plan. You won't get one vote from a Democrat. They have terrible policy. In many cases, they're terrible politicians, but the one thing I give them great credit for, they vote as a bloc. They stick together. And we will end catch and release. We're not releasing any longer. We also must finish the job that we started by being strong at the border. When we're strong at the border, people will turn away and they won't bother. You will see in a year from now, or in certainly a period of time from now, despite our very good economy, which some of them come for that, I can't blame them for that. You have to do it legally. But you will see that the numbers of people trying to get in will be greatly reduced. But that can only happen if we're strong at the border. And the southern border is a big problem. And it's a tremendous problem for drugs pouring in and destroying our youth and really destroying the fabric of our country. There's never been a drug problem like we have today. And as I said, much of it comes from the southern border. So in the meantime, I will fulfill my sacred obligation to protect our country and defend the United States of America. And this is a defense of our country. We have no choice. We have no choice. We will defend our borders. We will defend our country. Thank you very much.
You're ending catch and release. What happens to those children? Do they stay released?
We're working on a system where they stay together, but I will say that by doing that, tremendous numbers, under the Obama plan, you could separate children. They never did anything about that. Nobody talks about that. But under President Obama, they separated children from the parents. We actually put it so that that didn't happen. But what happens when you do that is you get tremendous numbers of people coming. It's almost like an incentive to, when they hear they're not going to be separated, they come many, many times over. But President Obama separated the children from the parents, and nobody complained. When we continued the exact same law, this country went crazy. So we are going to continue and try to continue what we're doing. But it is a tremendous incentive for people to try. But it's going to be very, very hard for people to come into our country. So we think we'll be able to do that.
How do you plan to them firing upon any of these people? Could you see?
I hope not. I hope not. It's the military. I hope there won't be that. But I will tell you this: anybody throwing stones, rocks, like they did to Mexico and the Mexican military, Mexican police, where they badly hurt police and soldiers of Mexico, we will consider that a firearm. Because there's not much difference when you get hit in the face with a rock, which, as you know, it was very violent a few days ago, very, very violent. That break-in, it was a break-in of a country. They broke into Mexico. And you look at what's happening in Guatemala, just to mention Guatemala, along with El Salvador and Honduras. It's disgraceful that those countries aren't able to stop this, because they should be able to stop it before it starts. And the United States pays them a fortune. And we're looking at not doing that anymore, because why should we be doing that when they do nothing for us? Jeff, go ahead.
Mr. President, how is this plan going to be legal, considering current law?
Oh, this is totally legal. No, this is legal. We're stopping people at the border. This is an invasion, and nobody's even questioning that.
But in terms of your plans to change the title, are you going to leave this via executive?
No, you don't have to. You don't have to release. You can hold. The problem is, to hold people, you need massive facilities. It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Another country says, sorry, you can't come in. With us, we take their name, take their phone number, take their everything, and say, good luck. Only because we don't have the facilities to hold people. But we're building the facilities now. We're building massive numbers of tents, and we will hold them in tents. But you don't have to release them. They released them only because they didn't have the facilities to hold.
Is there like an executive order that you're going to be releasing today?
We will be doing an executive order sometime next week, yes.
Executive order saying with ending catch and release and asylum?
It's going to end. It's going to be talking about everything. It'll be quite comprehensive. Many of the things we've talked about today.
Mr.
Yes.
President, so you're so just to clarify, you are speaking of in the tents, these family units that would.
Well, we have other facilities also. But what's happened is we are holding so many facilities, so many people, that our facilities are being overrun. They're being overrun. And we are putting up temporary facilities Eventually, people won't be coming here anymore when they realize they can't get through.
So they will hold the children in those tents with
We
their
will be
parents?
holding the family and the children together. Remember this, President Obama separated children from families. And all I did was take the same law, and then I softened the law. But by softening the law, many people come up that would not have come up if there was separation.
What do you say
But
to the
you're
critics
saying that you
who,
want-
Mr. President, what do you say to the critics who think this is a political thing before the midterm?
There's nothing political about a caravan of thousands of people and now others forming, pouring up into our country. We have no idea who they are. All we know is they're pretty tough people when they can blast through the Mexican military and Mexican police. They're pretty tough people. Even Mexico said, wow, these are tough people. I don't want them in our country. And women don't want them in our country. Women want security. Men don't want them in our country, but the women do not want them. Women want security. You look at what the women are looking for. They want to have security. They don't want to have these people in our country, and they're not going to be in our country. It's a very big thing. Yes.
Mr. President, when you talk about finalizing a plan to end asylum, is this a plan that will be included in that executive
No, people are
order?
going to have a chance to go for asylum. But if you look at the records, not very many people are allowed to stay once they go to court. But what happens is they were using asylum. First of all, they were told what to say by lawyers and others. Read this statement. You read the statement, and now you're seeking asylum. The whole thing is ridiculous, and we won't put up with it any longer.
U.S. law and international law says that people who have valid claims have a right to seek asylum.
That's
So
right.
what would be?
Well, they're going to go to court. They're going to go to court, as crazy as it sounds. They're going to go, excuse me, ready? They're going to go to court, and a judge is going to determine. But usually when they go to court, they're deported. It just seems that most of the people are deported once they go. The problem is they never end up going to court because when they come in, they're told to come back in a year for a court case, and they disappear into the United States, never to be seen again.
But the current laws.
But we're going to be,
say about holding
and they're given deportation notices. We will be deporting those people.
President, saying rock throwing like happened in Mexico would be sort of.
We will.
All right, folks, welcome. My name is Jen. I'm from Golden State Times. I'm the host of the stream. I'm just giving you guys a quick update. Right now, we're in the process of getting the footage from inside the White House where President Trump is going to be delivering his speech to military and military families. A show of support and that the president is with all of the military, active, non-active, and also veterans. So make sure you guys stay tuned live here at Golden State Times. The president should deliver his speech soon. So make sure you guys stay tuned live here at Golden State Times. If you guys can please share the live stream on social media, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Gab, on any of those social media sites, that would be amazing. Thank you so much for your support, like always. And also don't forget to click the thumbs up button below the video. That way you guys get notified in the future when we go live. The president should be delivering his speech soon, and we're going to have footage to put up on your screen in just a few minutes as we get stuff ready. Thank you so much.
People trying to get in will be greatly reduced. But that can only happen if we're strong at the border. And the southern border is a big problem. And it's a tremendous problem for drugs pouring in and destroying our youth and really destroying the fabric of our country. There's never been a drug problem like we have today. And as I said, much of it comes from the southern border. So in the meantime, I will fulfill my sacred obligation to protect our country and defend the United States of America. And this is a defense of our country. We have no choice. We have no choice. We will defend our borders. We will defend our country. Thank you very much.
President, what happens to the children then? If you're ending catch and release, what happens to those children? Do they stay in these?
We're working on a system where they stay together, but I will say that by doing that, tremendous numbers, and under the Obama plan, you could separate children. They never did anything about that. Nobody talks about that. But under President Obama, they separated children from the parents. We actually put it so that that didn't happen. But what happens when you do that is you get tremendous numbers of people coming It's almost like an incentive to, when they hear they're not going to be separated, they come many, many times over. But President Obama separated the children from the parents, and nobody complained. When we continued the exact same law, this country went crazy. So we are going to continue and try to continue what we're doing. But it is a tremendous incentive for people to try. But it's going to be very, very hard for people to come into our country. So we think we'll be able to do that.
How do you plan to?
Them firing upon any of these people? Could you see?
I hope not. I hope not. It's the military. I hope there won't be that. But I will tell you this, anybody throwing stones, rocks, like they did to Mexico and the Mexican military, Mexican police, where they badly hurt police and soldiers of Mexico, we will consider that a firearm. Because there's not much difference. When you get hit in the face with a rock, which, as you know, it was very violent a few days ago, very, very violent. That break-in, it was a break-in of a country. They broke into Mexico. And you look at what's happening in Guatemala, just to mention Guatemala, along with El Salvador and Honduras. It's disgraceful that those countries aren't able to stop this, because they should be able to stop it before it starts. And the United States pays them a fortune. And we're looking at not doing that anymore, because why should we be doing that when they do nothing for us? You know. Jeff, go ahead.
Mr. President, how is this plan going to be legal, considering current law?
Oh, this is totally legal. No, this is legal. We're stopping people at the border. This is an invasion, and nobody's even questioning that.
But in terms of your plans to change asylum, are you going to leave us via executive
No, you don't
order?
have to. You don't have to release. You can hold. The problem is, to hold people, you need massive facilities. It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Another country says, sorry, you can't come in. With us, we take their name, take their phone number, take their everything, and say, good luck. Only because we don't have the facilities to hold people. But we're building the facilities now. We're building massive numbers of tents, and we will hold them in tents. But you don't have to release them. They released them only because they didn't have the facilities to hold.
Is there like an executive order that you're going to be releasing today?
We will be doing an executive order sometime next week, yes.
Executive order dealing with both, with ending catch and release and asylum?
It's going to end. It's going to be talking about everything. It'll be quite comprehensive. Many of the things we've talked about today.
Mr.
Yes.
President, so you're, so just to clarify, you are speaking of in the tents, these family units that would.
Well, we have other facilities also. But what's happened is we are holding so many facilities, so many people, that our facilities are being overrun. They're being overrun. And we are putting up temporary facilities. Eventually, people won't be coming here anymore when they realize they can't get through.
So they will hold the children in those tents with
We
their
will be
parents?
holding the family and the children together. Remember this, President Obama separated children from families. And all I did was take the same law, and then I softened the law. But by softening the law, many people come up that would not have come up if there was separation.
What do you say
But
to the
you're
critics
saying that you
who,
want-
Mr. President, what do you say to the critics who think this is a political thing before the midterm?
There's nothing political about a caravan of thousands of people, and now others forming, pouring up into our country. We have no idea who they are. All we know is they're pretty tough people when they can blast through the Mexican military and Mexican police. They're pretty tough people. Even Mexico said, wow, these are tough people. I don't want them in our country. And women don't want them in our country. Women want security. Men don't want them in our country, but the women do not want them. Women want security. You look at what the women are looking for. They want to have security. They don't want to have these people in our country. And they're not going to be in our country. It's a very big thing, yes.
Mr. President, when you talk about finalizing a plan to end asylum, is this a plan that will be included in that executive
No, people are
order?
going to have a chance to go for asylum. But if you look at the records, not very many people are allowed to stay once they go to court. But what happens is they were using asylum. First of all, they were told what to say by lawyers and others. Read this statement. You read the statement, and now you're seeking asylum. The whole thing is ridiculous. And we won't put up with it any longer.
U.S. law and international law says that people who have valid claims have a right to seek asylum.
That's
So
right.
that would be.
Well, they're going to go to court. They're going to go to court, as crazy as it sounds. They're going to go, excuse me, ready? They're going to go to court. and a judge is going to determine. But usually when they go to court, they're deported. It just seems that most of the people are deported once they go. The problem is they never end up going to court because when they come in, they're told to come back in a year for a court case, and they disappear into the United States, never to be seen again.
But the current laws.
But we're going to be,
say about holding
and they're given
detention
deportation notices. We will be deporting those people.
Mr. President, on the current law,
President, the same rock throwing like happened in Mexico would be considered.
We will consider that the maximum that we can consider that because they're throwing rocks viciously and violently. You saw that 3 days ago, really hurting the military. We're not going to put up with that. They want to throw rocks at our military fights back. We're going to consider it, and I told them, consider it a rifle. When they throw rocks like they did at the Mexico military and police, I say, consider it a rifle. Jeff?
Yeah, it's a separate topic, sir. Did you offer Heather Nauer the job of the United States?
No, she's under very serious consideration. She's excellent. She's been with us a long time. She's been a supporter for a long time, and she's really excellent. So she's under very serious. We'll probably make a decision next week. We have a lot of people that want the job, and there are a lot of really great people, but we'll be talking about that next week sometime.
Did you see Oprah Winfrey's comments today?
I didn't. What did she say?
She was campaigning in Georgia at the same time that Vice President Pence was.
At the same time as
Excuse me, at the same time the Vice President Pence was encouraging people to vote and
Well, that's okay. I mean, look, I was on Oprah's last week of her show. Oprah liked me very much. I've always liked Oprah. You know, Oprah's good, but the woman that she's supporting is not qualified to be the governor of Georgia by any stretch of the imagination. And I'll be in Georgia the next few days, and we have a tremendous, around Macon, we have a tremendous crowd already. Nobody has a crowd like we have because people want to see a great governor of Georgia. And I think Brian's going to be a great governor of Georgia. I think he'll be a fantastic governor. He's totally qualified. She is not qualified to be the governor of Georgia. She's not qualified. And Georgia's a great state. It's a great, great state. Take a look at her past, take a look at her history, take a look at what she wants to do and what she has in mind for the state. That state will be in big, big trouble very quickly. And the people of Georgia don't want that. Question?
We just received an update on an election integrity. Can you say for a fact that our elections are
Yeah. I just met with the FBI, with Chris, and the Justice Department, and with Secretary Nielsen, and they've spent a lot of time and effort and some money on making sure that everything with respect to the election coming up in 5 days is going to be perfect and safe. There will be hopefully no meddling, no tampering, no nothing. And we spent a lot. Now, President Obama had the chance to do that in September before 16, but he chose not to do that because he thought Hillary Clinton was going to win. And while everybody agrees it didn't affect the vote at all, nevertheless, he could have done things that probably would have made it a little more obvious, a little clearer. But he was told by the FBI in September before the election in 16 about potential meddling or potential Russian meddling, and he did nothing about it. He didn't do that because he thought that Hillary Clinton would win. All right, one more.
Are you optimistic that you can still get continuing resolution through December 7th for Homeland Security Monday? Even if the Democrats take the House?
I think we're going to do very well in the election. I must tell you, if you look at the races, if you look at the Senate, which is very important, obviously. I'm leaving today. I'll be in Missouri, and I'll be touching down at a number of places over the next 5 days. But I think we're doing very well in the Senate, and I think we're doing very well in the House. The only problem is with the House, there's so many people. I'd like to stop for every one of them, but there's so many people. But I think we're doing very well in the House. I think people want to see strong borders. I think they want to see security. They want to see good health care. They want to see the things that we're providing. They don't want to have their taxes increased. We're decreasing their taxes. We just announced yesterday, you probably heard, Kevin Brady put it out, a reduction of tax. We're going for a reduction of middle income tax of 10%. The Democrats want to, double up your taxes. In some cases, you have to pay 3 times what you're paying right now in order to get bad health care. And so what we're doing is something that I think the people want, and I think we're going to do very well in the election, even though history says that whoever the president may be, it trends the other way. It certainly does seem that way, but nobody's ever been president that has the greatest economy in the history of our country. This is the greatest economy in the history of our country. These are the greatest unemployment and employment numbers in the history of our country. Nobody's ever had that to campaign with, so I do. Thank you all very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, folks. So we are about to get the footage from inside the White House, but right now, Acting Attorney General Whitaker, I hope I said his name correctly, is delivering a speech at the DOJ's Veteran Appreciation event. We're going to be playing that right now while we wait for President Trump. It seems like it's a little bit more difficult to get footage from inside the White House a little bit earlier than it was before. Right now that there's a lot of problems going on between the press and between the White House. So we should get the footage in just a few minutes. It's set to begin in 10 minutes, so don't go anywhere. Live here at Golden State Times. Please share the live stream, and it should start soon. Thank you.
We will continue to invest in our heroes because you're a good investment. You are, in the words of General John Kelly, the very best this country produces. Now I have the honor of introducing someone who knows that as well as anyone. Our keynote speaker is the Director of Military Force Management Policy for the United States Air Force, Major General Robert LaBruta. You might think of him as the Air Force's head of human resources, kind of like I think of Lee as our head of all the things. Major General LaBruta has served in the Air Force for the last 37 years. Today, he is responsible for setting force management policy that affects more than 500,000 Air Force personnel. Issues like assignments, evaluation, readiness, and transitioning back into civilian life. And I saw we had several members of the Air Force family here with us today. Before this assignment, he served as a commander of the 2nd Air Force at Keesler Air Force Base in Biloxi, Mississippi. He has earned a number of distinguished awards, including the Defense Superior Service Medal, the Legion of Merit, the Meritorious Service Medal, the Air Force Commendation Medal, and the Air Force Achievement Medal, and many others. He is highly decorated. As Lee mentioned, unfortunately, I have a previously scheduled obligation. I won't be able to stay here for the General's remarks. But I really wish that I could stay, and I wanted to stay for your remarks, General, and I apologize for that. But please join me in welcoming to the Department of Justice, Major General Robert LaBruta. Thank you all.
Put this over here.
Thank you. Well, good afternoon, everybody. You doing all right? What a great day. I'm going to tell you, on my way over, I think everybody that is used to Washington, D.C., it's just normal for you. This is my 3rd tour at the Pentagon. And when I was taking a look at the weather last night, I was going, how the heck am I going to get over to the Department of Justice, okay? And just like you had to this morning, I had to figure that out. The Metro worked very well until I got off and had to march over here. But here we are, right, on a wonderful day. I want to say again to Jarrell, thank you so much for that rendition of our national anthem. Let's give it up one more time. Absolutely outstanding in this beautiful hall. And when I saw my battle buddies and my shipmates and my wingmen standing up for each of their songs, when we saw that color guard come down with our colors of this great nation, wasn't that awesome? Let's give them one more round of applause. So here we are. Acting Attorney General Whitaker, I've got to say, I know that he had to leave. I think he's on his way to the White House right now, or at least over to the Senate. It's really remarkable to have this opportunity to be with those that are serving the nation as we are, wearing this uniform. From all of us to you, I want to say thank you for the safety and the security that you provide to all of us as American citizens. It's an amazing institution, never been here before, beautiful building. But more remarkable is the work that you're doing on behalf of the United States of America. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and to the Acting Attorney General and, of course, Assistant Attorney General of Administration Loftus. He and I are kind of like kindred spirits. I think he's my wingman up here. You heard that I've been in the Air Force for a little over 36 years. He's been part of this department for over 36 years. So I think that you've been there, done that, sir. And so once again, on behalf of all of us to you, thanks for your service to our nation. Absolutely outstanding. Then to the other distinguished visitors and guests that are here today, but most important to the Department of Justice workforce. And of course, to the veterans that stood for your actual anthems. I just want to say it's an amazing opportunity for me to be here to represent all of those men and women that are out there right now on the front lines, making the mission happen, whether they're a soldier, sailor, airman, Marine, or Coast Guard member for the United States. This gathering is all about our veterans, our American veterans, the men and women who fought for freedom and through their military service guaranteed our way of life. For over 243 years of independence, these patriots and heroes have stood watch, just like you, for our country. And we should never forget that. From Bunker Hill to Baghdad, their vigilance and determination to uphold the beliefs of which our nation was founded have made us the beneficiaries of those great sacrifices. And through their gallantry, America has truly been blessed with a vast array of possibilities as no other country on this planet. The sacrifices of our armed forces have provided an environment of safety, security, and freedom from which our nation has grown, prospered, and flourished. Whether it's in business or law or human rights, economics, science and technology, the arts, the United States of America is leading the world. And of course, America has long been the beacon of hope and liberty to others around the world, drawing millions to our shores and serving as a model of democracy. Every Veterans Day is important. Every Veterans Day is significant. But this year's commemoration was particularly meaningful. Exactly 100 years ago, this past Sunday, the guns of the Great War fell silent across Europe, and the doughboys started arriving back to their country. It was the 11th day, the 11th hour, the 11th month of 1918, that World War I, the war to end all wars, ended. The aftermath of that horrific war, the first fully mechanized conflict incorporating machine guns, barbed wire, tanks, airplanes, and chemical weapons, gave rise to a better health care system for our veterans. In 1921, Congress combined all World War I veterans programs into one to create the Veterans Bureau. Public health service veterans hospitals were transferred into that new bureau, and an ambitious hospital construction program for World War I vets commenced. By 1924, veterans benefits were broadened to cover disabilities for service-related and non-service-related injuries. In 1928, admission to the national homes was extended to women veterans, National Guard, and militia veterans as well. And finally, in 1930, the Veterans Bureau was elevated to the Veterans Administration, the forerunner of the Department of Veteran Affairs as we know it today, with the mission, the sole mission, to consolidate and coordinate government activities affecting war veterans. All of those initiatives, all of those actions were very fortuitous because, as we know, the guns were not silent for long. The dark shadows of Nazism and fascism soon descended across much of the world, resulting in World War II. Some may argue that it was the most epic of American conflicts. Starting on 7 December 1941, a day that continues to live in infamy, 16 million Americans, men and women, stepped forward to fight against that despotism and led us to victory and a position of world leadership. This is the story of our American veteran. Over the course of our country's short history, every time our nation asked, "Who shall I send?" ordinary men and women across this country stepped forward and
to where we are today. And this.
All right, folks, so we have footage from inside the White House where there's going to be the event with the president. I'm going to be putting it up on your screen in a second here while we get everything ready. I apologize for it taking so long, like always, but it is what it is sometimes. Here we go, folks. So I'm going to be putting it up on your screen in a second here while we get ready for the president. So here we go. It started already.
And we recognize that on Veterans Day, but we need to recognize that every single day. I had the honor and privilege of speaking to a veteran on a flight, and it was a moving experience, and here's why. He'd been injured. He'd been injured severely. And he was flying back. I met him. I thought he needed some help putting his bags in the overhead compartment. And he's like, "No, I got this. I'm good." But we got to talking. And he was flying back from a visit to the base where he received medical treatment. He wanted to meet the doctors and the nurses and all the staff that helped him through incredibly severe injuries. And he said, I asked him, why? That had to be a bad memory. Why do you want to go back and almost relive that? And he said he missed the camaraderie. He missed the sense of teamwork. And so he was studying. He had a great career ahead of him. But he missed what it meant to be part of a team, having each other's backs and serving with one another. And I was struck by that. What does it take for someone to so want to be part of a team that they will relive a difficult moment? And to me, that captured a spirit of service that we see in our military and that we see in our veterans. And it's that spirit of service and teamwork that is so valued as service members enter the working world. And so this administration, this president, will stand by service members and veterans each and every day. His charge to me is to focus not only on a job, but on a career, and there is a difference between a job and a career. And not only for the service member, but for the spouse. And so this president and this administration, each and every day, are committed to that mission. And our vets programs are changing to address that in an even stronger and more dynamic economy. Thank you very much. I'd like to introduce now Nick Pottenbaum. Nick.
We'll have a short intermission. Just hold tight if you could stay in your seats. Just hold on a few minutes. Thanks.
All right, folks, thank you very much for joining us and choosing us as your stream of choice. The president should be coming out in just a few minutes to deliver a speech and hopefully do a Q&A. There looks like he's also going to be part of a panel, hopefully. So make sure you guys stay tuned live here at Golden State Times. Please share the live stream on social media. If you guys share it on Twitter or on Facebook, I'll give you guys a quick shout out as a thank you for sharing the live stream. Let's see if there's anybody sharing the live stream right now so I can give a couple shout outs here before we continue. So let's see. Here we are. It looks like we have the hot mic on. Let me turn off here this. Here we go. All right. So let's see if there's anyone sharing the live stream on social media. If you guys can share it on social media, that would be amazing. Thank you so much for your continued support. And it looks like I Stand With Flynn. Thank you so much for sharing the live stream. Let's see here. Patricia No Name, thank you so much. Also, Loras, 26, thank you so much. We also have, let's see, Turn Off MSM Today. Thank you so much for sharing the live stream on social media. We also have Melissa. Thank you so much, Melissa, for your support. And then let's see, who else do we have on here? I think that is, oh, here we go. Peggy, thank you so much, Peggy, for sharing the live stream. Richie, thank you so much, Richie, for sharing the live stream. We also have Jesus, the Only Savior. Thank you so much. Also, Josephine and Mary, thank you so much for your support. Sharing the live stream on social media. Thank you so much. Also, U.S. Constitutionalist, thank you so much for your share on social media. And Deplorable Ready, thank you so much. Suzanne, thank you so much for sharing the live stream. We also have Slushyfish70, Galen, and Leans. Right, thank you so much for sharing the live stream on social media. Up for Traffic Monthly, thank you so much for sharing the live stream. All right, folks, so if you guys share the live stream on social media, I'll give you guys a quick shout out as a thank you for your support. Also, don't forget to click the thumbs up button. The president should be coming out soon. As you guys can see, the seal is already on the podium, and the presidential flag and the American flag are behind him. So he should be delivering the speech very soon. Thank you so much.
What about it? Oh, yeah. Is that better? Kick it left.
Slide it over.
We'll kick it out.
You're my eyes. On the left or right?
I'm sorry. That one?
No, the spreader.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to do. I was trying to
All right, so I've been looking on I was looking on the search on YouTube, and we do not come up, folks. Our live stream just doesn't come up on the search on YouTube. So that's what I've been talking about for the last few days. Demonetization, blacklisting, complete and utter shadow ban. That's what's going on right now with our channel, folks. And it looks like we are the only alternative news network that is passing all of these speeches by the president. We're the only ones. So we need your support now more than ever, folks. If you would like to support us, please share the live stream on social media. Click the thumbs up button. There's also a link in the description below for us to continue operation here on YouTube, because it's becoming very, very, very difficult for us. And, we need your help. So thank you so much for being a viewer. Thank you so much for being a patriot here at Golden State Times. And we hope to continue operation here for you folks. Thank you so much. All right. So a Patriot asked what's going on with Kavanaugh. Is he being replaced? No, he's not being replaced. President Trump, during an event, I think it was yesterday, before yesterday, he nominated an Indian American woman to replace Kavanaugh's old seat on the D.C. court. So no, Kavanaugh is not he's not being replaced. He's not in danger. He's nothing. He's perfect. He's doing a good job at the Supreme Court. He is now Justice Kavanaugh instead of Judge Kavanaugh. And, just someone is replacing his old seat on the D.C. court. So that's basically what that is. If you've seen it online or on, social media, stuff like that, that's what's going on.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. You didn't get rid of me. I may be a recovering politician, but even in that status, I always have something extra to say. But I have a great honor right now. I'm going to introduce someone who's the reason that I'm here. In my confirmation hearing, I was accused by several senators of being the Forrest Gump of the United States Senate, because there was no question that they could give me that I could not fall back on some instance from the Roman Empire that would support the answer to the question. Well, I'm going to plead guilty to that and say something. I'm a pretty good presidential historian, and I did a piece today. I think it was in USA Today. It may be in tomorrow. There's never been a presidential campaign, certainly in the post-World War II era, where one of the candidates made veterans the centerpiece of his campaign. And that was brought home to me when I was made the acting secretary. Now, for those of you who've had your heads beaten in by the Jesuit fathers, as I have had, being the acting secretary is like being in Jesuit limbo. You are, but you're not. And I was amazed during that 8 weeks that I was privileged to be the acting secretary of the department, how much time the President of the United States spent with me talking about veterans, talking about the future of the Department of Veterans Affairs. I have worked in White Houses before, and the notion that in an 8-week time span, any president would spend more than 1 hour with someone who is outside of the White House complex is strange credulity. But in this case, it was an honor. It was an honor for me as the son of a soldier. It was an honor for me as an officer. And in my time now, in that 100 days that I've been privileged to serve as the head of this department, all of those things that I saw about President Trump during my active time have been made manifest in the support that he has given to our nation's warriors. He's just returning from the Marine barracks. No, veterans have never had a better friend in the White House. So it is my high honor and distinct pleasure to introduce to you the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. Thank you.
Wow. That was such a nice introduction, Mr. Secretary. Thank you. And by the way, just so you understand, he's doing a great job. Please sit down. After that introduction, I would have to say that even if he wasn't doing a great job, right? But he's a fantastic person who has committed like I've never seen. And you know, he came out of defense, and they weren't happy about it. That's always a good sign. You know, when they're not happy, when they are happy, you know you picked the wrong person. But they were not. They're still not happy about it. Thank you very much. Where are you? Here you are. Thank you very much. Beautiful. And thank you, everybody, for being here. This is a tremendously important group of people to me. America's veterans, these are special people. Today, I'm thrilled to welcome you all to the White House Conference on supporting veterans' military families. And we all know how important families are for us. I do want to thank, I understand with us, who's man who's really been of great help is the Utah Attorney General, Sean Reyes. Where's Sean? Hi, Sean. Thank you very much. Really good. Earlier this week, our nation celebrated Veterans Day, and we also marked the 100th anniversary of the armistice that ended World War I. It's a beautiful, beautiful and important day. On Sunday, I had the immense privilege of visiting Suresnes Cemetery in France to pay tribute to the brave Americans who laid down their lives for our nation 1 century ago, 100 years. We will never forget what these heroes did to win, and when they did, the war and to secure peace. To everyone here today who has served our country in uniform, and to every veteran and military family across our land, I want to express the eternal gratitude and thanks of our entire nation. Delivering for our great veterans requires strong partnerships at all levels of government. That is why we are so grateful to you, the state, very important, and local community leaders. It all doesn't work without you. It doesn't work without you. From around the country who are participating in today's very important conference. We're also glad to be joined by Secretary of Labor Alex Acosta, wherever Alex may be. Where is Alex? Hello, Alex. Doing a great job. Thank you. Thank you very much. Who is leading up our efforts to ensure veterans and military families can find great jobs and rewarding careers. And one of the best things we have going is you have maybe the greatest economy we've had in many, many years. Thank you, Alex. Thought I saw you back there. Now you're where you belong, right next to each other, right? So I want to thank all of the people that are making this economy go. We have so many people working so hard, but it's booming. And veteran unemployment has reached its lowest level in nearly 21 years. And it's going to be better. It's going to even be better. And that number will be better because if you look at the various statistics, African American employment is the lowest level in history. Hispanic employment is the lowest level in history. Asian employment is the lowest level in history. Women, 65 years. So we have to do better for the veterans. I think 21 years isn't the same. I have a feeling that the next chart that comes out, they'll be right up there too. But this is the lowest in 21 years. Since day one, my administration has also taken bold action to reform the Department of Veterans Affairs and deliver our veterans the care they so richly deserve, working very hard on it. Last year, I signed the landmark VA Accountability Act, which, as you know, by accountability, that ensures us the right to get rid of, in a very nice way, or a very rough way, any way we want. But the Secretary, it probably is a rough way, and that's okay. That's okay too, Secretary. Those who mistreat our veterans, and they are going to be held fully accountable. This was something that for, I would say, 4 decades, they've been trying to get it approved. Sounds easy, it's not. I love the unions, we love civil service, but they didn't make this one easy for many, many decades. We got it done. We're good at getting things done. Since my inauguration, we have removed more than 3,600 government employees who were not giving our vets the care or respect that they deserve. In June, I proudly signed into law the most significant VA reform in half a century, called Veterans' Choice. Everyone knows what that means. Now, if a veteran cannot get the treatment they need from the VA in a timely manner, they can see a private doctor. They don't have to wait 12 days or 20 days. I heard horror stories like you wouldn't believe during the campaign when I was campaigning. And I appreciate the Secretary saying that it was a very major part, the veterans, of all of my speeches. I don't think I left them out of one speech, and I made plenty of them. And they were at the top. And now we're really producing, I think, far greater than anyone would have thought possible. Since I took office, 2.2 million veterans have been able to receive the care they need outside of the VA system. So there's no more waiting on lines. Literally, people were waiting. You know better than I do, but they'd be waiting 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks in some cases to see a doctor. Now they go and they see a private doctor right outside, hopefully right next to their house or where they live, and we pay for it. And they're very thankful. It's been incredible. And we're actually upping that program quite a bit as time goes by. We're going to be doing certain steps that we always had planned, but we're doing it step by step. And we've had great support in Congress, I have to say that. In September, I signed into law the largest funding bill for the VA in history. We secured $8.6 billion for veterans' mental health services, $400 million for opioid abuse prevention, and $270 million for rural veterans' health initiatives. The rural veterans have had it pretty tough over the years because they're pretty far away from a lot of potentially good treatment. Working with the VA and the Department of Housing and Urban Development, we've helped nearly 54,000 veterans in need. We've helped them find permanent housing and great services last year. To improve the efficiency of the VA, I signed the Veterans Appeals Improvement and Modernization Act. Over the last 2 years, we have taken dramatic action to streamline the bureaucracy and made tremendous progress. In the last year, we processed more than 1 million total claims processed. Total claims at the VA, along with 85,000 appeals decisions, the most in history, and 62% more than the previous year, which is a record, Nobody's ever seen that kind of an improvement. Since I took office, we have reduced the average claim wait time, such a big factor in what we're doing, wait times, by nearly 25%, and that number is going to go substantially better with a little more time. We opened the promised White House VA hotline, which has already fielded more than 150,000 calls and emails from our veterans when they have a complaint, a problem, or in many cases we receive compliments for what's happened in the less than 2 year period. It's almost 2 years, can you believe it? but it's still less than 2 years. In January, I signed an executive order directing the Department of Defense, Homeland Security, and Veterans Affairs to ensure seamless access to mental health care and suicide prevention resources for veterans. Tremendous, hard to believe problem. Hard to believe, actually. With a focus on the first year after separation from military service, when a lot of bad things can happen. We secured $206 million for VA suicide prevention programming. And every VA medical center now offers same-day emergency mental health care. But we have to do more, and we're working to do more. We will be working with every state and local leader, so many of you are here, and around the nation to improve vital mental health services for Americans' great veterans. This is a top priority for my administration, has been, as I said from the beginning, always will be. Until we get it right, and we're getting close, and once we get it right, we're going to keep it right, because it can go bad just as fast as we fixed it. So we're going to keep it right. Pretty soon, that's what we're going to be working on, Mr. Secretary, just keeping it right. We're getting to a point. Another crucial element of our veterans' agenda is improved access to education. Last year, I signed legislation to allow every veteran to use their GI Bill education benefits at any point in their lives. And earlier this year, I signed an executive order to promote military spouse hiring across the federal government. Military families are the backbone of our nation. So in addition to everything else, as you see, I did the promotion of military spouse hiring across the federal government. Fact is, I've done a lot. I could, goodbye, everybody. Goodbye, everybody. That's a lot. That is a lot. That's more than anybody's ever even thought about, and I'm proud of it. And we're not finished yet. That's why I figured I did so much I could leave now. But we're not finished. We never will be finished. To support our heroes in uniform, we have secured a record $716 billion in military funding this year. And last year, we increased it by hundreds of billions of dollars to $700 billion. America's military might is the best way to prevent war. The stronger we are, the less chance we have of having to go to war. It's now a new force, a great force. We have the finest equipment, the finest planes, the finest missiles and rockets, ships. Some are being built. Just gave out a tremendous order for brand new F-35s, fighter jets. They're stealth. You can't see them. Other than that, they're easy to beat. I said to one of the pilots, I said, how good are these? They said, well, sir, the problem is you can't see them when you fight them. I said, that sounds like it's a big advantage. They said, it's an awfully big advantage. It's incredible equipment. Everything we make the best equipment in the world. You should know that. I mean, we make equipment like nobody else even comes close. Our technology is far superior to anybody else. Our jet fighters, even our tankers, but our planes, our ships, there's nobody that makes the equipment like we make it. And the beautiful thing with when you hear $716 billion, it's all made in the USA. Every ounce of it. Right? And we will soon have the greatest and most prepared force, military force, anywhere in the history of our country, by far. And that's what we need. It was becoming very depleted and very tired, and you people know probably better than anybody in this country what was happening. It was not good, and now it's really good. It's our sacred duty to support America's service members. Every single day they wear the uniform, and every day after, when they return home as veterans and heroes, we take care of them. That's very important. And they really appreciate it. I think nothing I've done is more appreciated. I think we've done a lot for a lot of different groups, but nobody's appreciated it more than the vets. I see that when I go out, when I make speeches, and I meet people backstage and on stage. I think the vets maybe more than anybody else, appreciate what we're doing for them. So together we will honor those who defend us, we will cherish those who protect us, and we will celebrate the amazing heroes who keep America safe and strong and proud and free. I want to thank you all. You're very incredible people. I know the job you do. I know how hard it is. I know what you've gone through, especially before we came into office. What you went through was incredible, horrible in certain ways. But I know what you went through, and it's my honor to be with you, and God bless America. Keep up the great work. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Great job. Thank you, everybody.
All right, folks, thank you very much for joining us and choosing us as your stream of choice. The president giving his speech supporting veterans and military families, as you guys saw. There is going to be a State Department press briefing coming in a few minutes, so we're going to be streaming that. We're trying to cover every single event that the president does, folks, but we are getting attacked by YouTube left and right, demonetization, shadow banning, all that stuff. So it's becoming very, very difficult for us to continue operation here at Golden State Times on YouTube. We're trying to focus on our website, which is goldenstatetimes.com. Hopefully in the future, we'll have our live streams and stuff like that in our reports on our website instead of YouTube, because YouTube is getting really, really bad, folks. But until then, if you'd like to help us, the link for our PayPal is in the description below, or you can go to paypal.me/GST Live. Also, if you'd like to get notified directly by us here at Golden State Times, you can grab your cell phone and text America First to 555-888, and then you'll get signed up to get notifications directly from us here at Golden State Times for breaking news and president speeches. We try to save it for like very urgent ones because it's extremely expensive for us to send mass text messages to in large quantities like this. So we try to save it for the best live streams and for breaking news that need to be put out there. So if you'd like to sign up to our notification list, all you have to do is text America First to 555-888. and then you'll get notified. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for sharing the live stream. Thank you to the moderators for coming out, keeping the chat clean and enjoyable for everyone. We hope that you guys join us for the State Department press briefing, and I'll see you soon. Peace. Again, folks, if you guys want to join us later on for a State Department press briefing, that should come very soon. So make sure you guys stay tuned. Subscribe if you are new. Click the notification bell. Hopefully you get notified by YouTube. But if you want to get notified directly by us here at Golden State Times, all you have to do is text America First to 555-888, and then you'll get signed up to our notification list. We will not spam you. Don't worry about your cell phone number. Will be safe here at us. We try to be as professional as we possibly can. So don't worry about that. Also, if you want to help us continue operation here on YouTube, you can help us using the link in the description below. Down below in the description, you also find links for our Facebook. You can like us on Facebook if you have it. You can follow us on Twitter. The link is there too. Also, if you want to become a citizen reporter, if you want to report something, or if you want to share a video or a news report that is being suppressed by the media, you can also go to our page. It's like a group page on Facebook called Citizen Reporter. The link is in the description below, and you can report anything you want on there. And then if we'll take a look, and if we need to share it ourselves, then we'll do that, and we'll credit you as you being the source. So make sure to join our group called Citizen Reporter on Facebook. The link is in the description below. Thank you so much for your support.